In this episode, the boat shed is covered.
Hi, I'm Bill England of the Ambler Odysseys YouTube channel. I'm going to build a 48-foot trawler yacht here in the C-clamp boat shed in the backyard of my Summerside, Prince Edward Island, Canada home.
Having completed the shell of the boat shed, it was time to cover her up. There are many options for covering a greenhouse style structure. There's the standard 6mm clear greenhouse plastic, but there are also thicker varieties, colored varieties, more expensive but more durable woven tarp-like covers, etc. My decision was made for me when I was able to buy a used standard greenhouse plastic from a local greenhouse. I laid out the 48 by 90 foot plastic thinking, holy crap, this is big. So I trimmed the length down and began rolling the long ends towards the center, as this would facilitate hoisting it onto the ridge beam. It was then rolled into a bundle to wait until it was go time. Left as they were, the metal hurricane straps would quickly shred the plastic cover. So I cut up strips of an unused rubber mat and glued them onto the metal straps. The final steps before laying over the plastic were to add an additional support brace to the A-frame end wall, and to screw on thin battens around the entire exterior of the structure. These battens would be half of the means to firmly secure the plastic cover down. The day before the cover date, the plastic was rolled out at the ready. Let the great plastic roll pull begin. Nothing goes as easy as one might think. But in the end, a big task was completed. The objective was met, and there were no injuries. Serious injuries. Oh, and the cuss jar received a sizable donation. First up was to pull the plastic roll up and over the arch ridge beam. Plastic sheathing is heavier than it looks, especially when snow from the previous days had made its way into the seams and frozen. I had my two young lads up on the gallows, pulling up the plastic and feeding it up and over the end wall. My oldest son was on the opposite end, on top of the garage roof extension, pulling the rope tied to the end of the plastic. This arrangement worked okay at the start, but extra hands were needed in the middle of the arch to help pull the rope and to lift up the knot at the leading edge of the plastic, as it kept getting caught on the arches. The old guy just needed to reposition the ladder and give it a helping hand a few times. In the end, it took about 10 minutes to heave the plastic up and onto the roof. We did encounter one setback. We lost control of the trailing edge of the plastic as it began to slide down over the arch. Every problem is something that needs some assessment to be solved. And I foresee lots of problem-solving patience needed over the course of this boat build. You have probably noticed a large section of plastic attached to the other side of the boat shed. There's an important reason for this. You see, the used plastic I had obtained from the greenhouse must have fit over a side door, as there was a 10 by 15 foot section cut out on one side. So with the excess plastic I had cut off when I initially unrolled the plastic, I shaped it to fit like an underlayer to the opening. This way, when unrolled, the opening would be over this added plastic section, and I would be able to tape down the edges of the opening. That's the plan in theory. Stay tuned. With the plastic roll adjusted and Mama Bear now on scene, it was time for the great roll down. The lines that wrapped around the plastic were cut, allowing the plastic to unroll section by section. This step required repositioning the ladder about every 10 feet to be able to cut the wrapping lines. I had forgotten that there was some ice trapped in the plastic, so as the plastic was unwrapped, naturally gravity did its thing. The ice dropped almost on top of Mama Bear, aka the safety officer. That simple oversight nearly cost me my life. After the up the ladder, down the ladder, move the ladder dance was over, all the wraps had been cut. It took some teasing, but the plastic wrap slowly began to unroll down each side of the ridge beam. With one half the cover unrolled, now you will start noticing how windy it had been that day. They say putting on greenhouse plastic should be done when there is no wind. But remember, these are only recommendations based on vast amounts of experience. Sometimes you feel like going against the flow. Lesson learned. This is not one of those times. This last section wanted to be stubborn and not unroll. Not even a big stick could coax it down. I thought I could be smarter than the plastic and try to attack its opposite flank. Yet the plastic held its ground and did not give in to human ingenuity. It even resisted a good pounding. Eventually, humanity won out, but it had been a struggle. Now it was time for the humanity to struggle with the wind. The race was now on to attach the second row of battens. The plastic was pulled snugly over the previously attached battens. Over top the plastic, the second battens were held firmly down while being screwed in. This sandwiched the plastic between the two rows, holding it securely in place.
Well, that was fun getting the plastic on, but she's on. Brogan's just down on the left side there, tightening that end down.
You're ridiculous.
It's not fully tightened down. We'll have to do some adjusting, but hey, she's up, and that's what counts. Oh, it feels good to have her on. You can see it here, it's still a little loose. I'll do our best to tighten that up. Great help from my sons Brogan and Keenan and Ryerson. It was tough to get that up and pull it down to this end because water from the rain and stuff had made its way inside, so there's a few pounds of ice in there that once we finally got her done and unrolled, it all came crashing down. So yeah, nice and warm in here, and of course once I get the doors done, it'll all be good. I'm a happy pappy. My wife Kim also helped. Nice. So, and good way to end 2020 and spend the morning of my wedding anniversary.
Now that the plastic was up, it was time to get the doors on the forward end wall. But before that could happen, the gallows had to be struck down, level by level. The idea of the boat shed is to keep the seasonal elements outside while the boat is being constructed. With the doors finally hung, winter had to stay outside. With such balmy indoor temperatures, it will be nice to be able to sit and contemplate what is yet to come. With the boat shed project completed, even the forward end wall had a smiley face made from the arch jig. In the next video, the boat cradle is finished. Things are prepared for lofting. And the keel patterns are made.
For a front row seat on this boat build project, please like and subscribe to the Ambler Odysseys on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.